All right, we are live at 5. I want to make sure that the stream is working correctly before we start. Let's see. Hopefully there'll be some people in. More than likely there'll be some people in. I want to make sure that everything is good this time. If anyone's here right now, let me know the quality. Is the quality good? No, it's still bad. Quality's still bad. If anyone's here, let me know if the quality's good. Okay. So, welcome to the stream, ladies and gentlemen. Uh, my name is Josh, aka JaceTheDon. If you're new here, we're going to be talking about Captain America: Brave New World today. So we're going to be talking about that, as well as Sonic the Hedgehog 4, and maybe I'll give you guys a little bit of a review for Sonic 3 if you guys want to hear that. Because I just watched the movie today and I have a lot of thoughts. So I definitely want to talk about Sonic 3, but we got the news that Sonic the Hedgehog 4 is confirmed for 2027. So we'll get into that as well. And yeah, so the big portion of this stream, we're going to be talking about Captain America Brave New World and why this movie has to be good. It has to be a good movie. It doesn't need to be an okay movie. It doesn't need to be a decent movie. It needs to be a good movie. Because if you're going to build up Sam Wilson, who is Captain America, I don't care what anyone says, he is Captain America. If you're going to build up a character like this, you really have to give him a strong move into the saga because he's going to be one of the leaders in the multiverse saga. And I think Sam Wilson is, depending upon how I feel about Falcon and the Winter Soldier, I do feel like there's a lot of things with that show that they could have done differently, could have done better. But I will say, I do wish that they would have gave Sam more time as being Captain America, because to me, it just feels like they're kind of pushing towards, the Secret Wars and Doomsday, which that's cool and all, I guess. But I still feel like Sam needs at least one or two movies, in my opinion, to kind of show that he is in some people's eyes, the Captain America of the saga. It doesn't matter what you do, no matter what Sam does, he could have the coolest abilities in the world, and there will still be people who feel that Captain America should have been other people besides Sam. And you know what? That's your opinion. I'm no way, shape, or form going to enforce that upon anyone else. I have my own fair share of opinions on it, but like I said, I do wish they would have gave Sam at least one or two movies, not one or two movies, because he's getting one movie, but at least two or three movies to kind of. But that's just my honest opinion on it. But like I said, Captain America: Brave New World needs to be a good movie to prove that Sam Wilson can take on a leadership role. He can be this new saga's new Captain America, and he can press forward into whatever stories they want to tell with him down the road. And again, it's kind of hard not to look at the reshoots and all of that, which let me put this out here because I feel like a lot of people always think about reshoots as something that you know it's always like a bad thing, but reshoots happen more often in the industry than a lot of people would like to say, especially with just the circumstance of what's going on. And again, I'm not making any excuses for this movie. If it's a bad movie, it's a bad movie. I never see it as this very like I never go too deep into it like that, like a lot of people do, because again, some people may end up enjoying the movie, some people may not. It's just a matter of preference, in my honest opinion. And yeah, that's how I feel about it. So again, moving forward, there's a lot of things that this movie has dealt with in terms of adversity and, production and also changing of the story. But then, we had SAG after strikes. That was like a year of, strikes going on. And that really held up a lot of the development on the movie. Also, you got to take into account, you know, like I said, some of the story elements, certain things they had to cut out or not mention due to otherworldly events that happen. And I really don't want to get into that side of things because it's kind of it's kind of like I don't really know how to feel about it. Um, a certain character, and I'm sure you've probably seen the controversy around that character that they're involving her in this film, and a lot of people, it's kind of rubbed a lot of people the wrong way. They tried to tweak it. One side didn't like it, they tried to do something else, the other side didn't like it. So sometimes it's really hard to try to appeal to multiple audiences when it's like your head's at up against the wall every single time you try to do something. So that's how I feel about that particular situation. Again, I'm not getting into that because I really don't want to, nor do I have the energy to. But all I'm gonna say is, like I said, I hope this movie is good because a lot of people hate on Anthony Mackie. They say, "Oh, he's a cornball. He's this and that." I've never met Anthony Mackie. I can't personally say that this guy's a cornball or anything like that. I've never met him personally, so I can't really say that. You can say that based off of your assumptions, based off of maybe some of the things he said. Maybe you can come to that conclusion. But again, I don't know him personally, so I can't say anything like that because, I got to think about it from the opposite side. There's probably someone out there who thinks I'm a cornball. There's probably people out there who think I'm this and I'm that. And you know what? That's fine because, again, that's their assumption. But when you take the time to get to know someone, it's kind of different. But yeah, Alexander, what's up, Alexander? First comment. Yeah, first comment, man. Hopefully people are going to come into the stream, and I don't think anyone is, to be quite honest with you. I'm probably just wasting my time, but it doesn't matter. Maybe some people will come in eventually. I think I put out the stream. I put it on Instagram. I put it on Twitter. I put it everywhere. So maybe some people will show up again. Maybe people are busy. I know there's some snow going on right now. Snow is going to be heading my way. So it's coming later tonight. So I do have another stream planned for tomorrow. So it just depends on the weather. If things fall through with that, then I'll probably do the Superman stream tomorrow. If not, then I'll do something else. But yeah, so jumping into that, we did get sort of like a featurette today. We're talking about Captain America. Hold on. I don't know if you can see it. I don't think you guys can see it. Hold on a minute. So we did get like a featurette for Captain America Brave New World. I haven't seen it. I haven't watched it yet. So I'm actually going to check it out for myself. Hopefully, Marvel, Disney, don't claim me.
I come to set every day with a smile on my face because we're making Captain America. And being handed the shield, it just means a lot to me. It's personal.
This is like
he has made that decision to become unabashedly Captain America.
Sir, hey, he stays.
And Harrison Ford playing President Ross is one of the many pinch yourself moments.
I had seen actors in the Marvel movies have a really good time. And I thought, well, maybe I ought to get me some of that.
Harrison was cool, and he was great. And it was really interesting to see him sculpting a character in a world this big. I couldn't put a price on that lesson.
You may be Captain America, but you're not Steve Rogers.
You're right. I'm not.
Captain America. You ever ask yourself, who's playing who?
Audiences are going to really appreciate bringing it back to old school Marvel. And I'm excited for people to see that.
So many surprises left.
You want me? Come and get me!
It's a cool little featurette. I like seeing the behind the scenes and stuff. Hold on. I like seeing the behind the scenes of movies and stuff in the development. So that's pretty cool. I like that. Something interesting that Anthony Mackie said is that this movie, he hopes that people get the old school Marvel feel to this movie. And kind of based off of the trailers, it does feel like a Winter Soldier esque thing. And I kind of like that. I kind of like that because Captain America Winter Soldier for me is my favorite Marvel movie. Like that stands at number one. And I go down the list, but again, Captain America Winter Soldier is like my favorite movie, Marvel movie. And so um if it has that same similar vibe, that would be cool. Um I just don't want this to be a Red Hulk film. I want this to be a Captain America film because I know Captain America, he's a character that, he's just uh, Captain America is a character that goes through a lot of strides, and not just Steve Rogers, but Sam Wilson as well. He's gone through a lot of strides too. So I just really hope they relate into that and really show that he can be Captain America. Through all the odds and adversity and the things that people may say about him, he is Captain America in his own right, and he doesn't have to prove that to anyone. He can prove that to himself. He proved it to Steve. A lot of people forget about this. Why would Steve Rogers give him the shield? He didn't give it to Bucky. He gave it to Sam. There's a reason why he gave it to Sam. He trusts Sam. He knows Sam can be a good Captain America. It's in his blood, you know? And I sit back and I think about that scene in Endgame with them having that conversation. And he just gives him the shield. And I think about that and I say, why would they give it to him? There's a reason why they gave him the shield. There's a reason why. And I know a lot of people try to go down that route. Oh, this is just Marvel putting down a checklist or whatever you like to think it is. I don't think it's a checklist. I think that they're going based off of, what happened in the comics, but also doing their own twist on it and making it different. That's why I think they are doing. So like I said, it's just a matter of what they do. There was a report today, I think Giancarlo Esposito, who plays Sidewinder for the Serpent Society, says that he hopes that he can get his, comic book look and character throughout the MCU. So to me, it seems like going based off of that, this isn't going to be the last time we see the Serpent Society. Now, for all you wrestling fans out there, Seth Rollins, very talented wrestler, very talented in-ring performer that doesn't get a lot of credit, I feel. Some people say Seth Rollins is overrated. I say he's a great guy who, again, works in the ring really well and can work with anyone and has done a lot of great matches and had a lot of great matches with a lot of people. So he was supposed to be a part of the movie, but he got cut from the movie. So I wonder if they're going to try to do a Serpent Society project in the future, and that's why they cut his role. I wonder, there's a lot of mysteries behind the scenes about this film that I hope, one day gets like because obviously Marvel's going to do a making of, but I hope that there's like some kind of big, explanation as to why these stories got cut, throughout the script. So, like I said, hopefully we get some news on that. But yeah, if you guys have any thoughts on Captain America: Brave New World, how do you guys feel about the film? Are you looking forward to it? Are you curious about what's going on with the film? Are you a little hesitant? Like, I just want to hear your guys' thoughts about it because, like I said, I'm looking forward to it. I'm gonna give it a chance because again, it's Sam Wilson, and I do like some aspects of Sam Wilson, and I think it's time for him to be a leader. I think so. He should have been a leader a long time ago, and no, not because he was Falcon or anything, but just because, like, I just feel like it's time. That's just my honest opinion on it. So, like I said, I want to hear you guys' thoughts on it. If there's anybody, but I don't see anybody, so maybe not. Maybe I should have went back to doing the format on my phone, because it seems like maybe doing it through here, people look at it and they see that it's blurry and it doesn't look all that appealing. Maybe I need to start back doing streams on my phone. I want to ask you guys, what layout do you guys prefer? Do you prefer me doing it on my phone, or do you prefer me doing it on here? I know it's blurry, and I've tried everything. I've tried everything to make. I even have a new webcam, and it's still doing like this. I don't know why. For whatever reason, StreamYard seems to just constantly do this. So like I said, it looks clear on my end, but I'm sure your guys' end, and even on my phone, it just looks blurry. It looks bad. So I'm sorry. But yeah. Also, I do want to give like a channel update too. Not like anyone's watching the stream, but I do want to give a channel update because there are some things that have happened that kind of prevented me from, doing some videos for you guys, because I had a whole list of videos planned for this week that I actually wanted to do, but unfortunately, due to the TikTok ban that we have, I really don't want to get into it because it's just going to make me mad. But I will say that, CapCut is also in with the same company as TikTok. So for that past 2 days, I haven't been able to make videos due to the ban, which has kind of disrupted my creative process, because CapCut was the only, software that I use, throughout almost 3 years of doing YouTube. CapCut is the only software I've used. So having to learn a new one after 3 years of using the one that you're so comfortable with has been a challenge. I did find VN Video Editor. That's what I use to edit the Your Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man video. I try as best as I can to try to get it as close to how my videos usually look. I'm sure things look a little off, maybe a little different in that video. So again, just work with me. But CapCut is back up. So I had done a Daredevil short today that I put out. It's not doing well. Not that I expected it to do well. I mean, the Daredevil video didn't do well at all. So it's just one of those things, you try as best as you can to try to do different things, and sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't work. That's the sucky thing about being on YouTube, is that I put out good quality content about a lot of things. New Rockstars doesn't talk about all the stuff that I talk about. All these other channels, they don't talk about stuff in complete detail like I do. And sometimes I just feel like I'm always overlooked by bigger channels. And that's not me complaining. Like, I'm not complaining. I'm appreciative of just everybody who's, checked out my videos and stuff. But sometimes it's like, I could do 3 Your Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man videos about stuff, and then all it takes is for a New Rockstars video to come out, and they talk about the exact same things that I talk about in that video. And it's like, yo, like, I literally just talked about all of this in like 3 videos. And I get it's YouTube, it's, that's going to happen. But sometimes it's like, man, people, and sometimes they don't even get it right. You know what I mean? Like, I legit told people, like, Your Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man is not going to be an MCU canon show. I legit told people that way before New Rockstars said anything about it. So all the while they were saying that it's MCU canon, I'm up here telling you guys it's not, and I knew it wasn't. So it's just like, it's just those things sometimes that it aggravates me as a creator, because I really put my heart and soul into the things that I create, only for, again, a popular creator who, again, they don't get it right, and that's, that's something that you're always going to have. But again, it just takes a new Rockstars video or a Cosmic Wonder video or Everything Always video. And I'm not dissing them. I'm not dissing any of those creators or anything like that. So please don't take it that way. But I'm just saying, as a smaller creator who works and puts a lot of his time and effort into things, sometimes I just feel like I'm always undercut. But that's another rant for another time. I'm gonna get into your guys' comments. What's up, Carter? How you doing? Let's see. People should stop complaining about him fighting Hulk. Fighting a Hulk is bad. Fighting a Hulk is not bad. I feel like a lot of people with this film have a lot of things going against it. And again, it's fair. If you don't like the fact that Captain America's a black man, it's fine. If you don't like the fact that he's fighting Red Hulk, that's fine. If you just don't like the fact because of all the things you heard about this film, though you've never seen at least 10 minutes of this film to really say and give a conclusion about if this film is going to be good or not, I don't know. To each its own. To each its own. Everybody, again, is going to have their own opinion. If you don't like it, it's fine. Like, I'm not going to shame you for it. No one's going to shame you for it here, because we're all going to have a different matter of an opinion. We're all going to have things that we're not excited for. We're all going to have things that we are excited for. And sometimes you're going to have the most anticipated project that people are excited for, and you're going to have a group of people who just aren't excited for it for their own reasons. And you know what? That's okay. It's just all in a matter and level of just kind of understanding that and just seeing that there's always new perspectives. What's up, Radiant Films? How you doing, man? I've seen some of your content, man. Your content is great. Keep it up. I like what you're doing over there. But yeah, to go back to your question, Carter, like I said, people are going to complain. You could have had, Sam fighting out with, I don't know, the most street level villain you could ever create. And there will still be people who complain about him fighting a lower tier villain. Why is he fighting a lower tier villain? Are you trying to say that Captain America isn't all that? And let's be honest. A lot of these people saying this have never got out of their way and read a classic comic book. Not a modern day comic book. A classic comic book where a lot of the big heroes and stuff were fighting very small, minor villains that only got an issue or two, and that's okay. Like I said, that's okay, because that's a part of the Marvel history. That's a part of the superhero history. All of your favorite Marvel heroes have faced some kind of small tier villain, and that's okay. What makes, to me, the Marvel Netflix universe so dope is that, yeah, Kingpin, he's a pretty big villain, like for Daredevil, pretty big villain. But then you have like Luke Cage, he's fighting Diamondback, and a lot of these other small tier villains in that universe, but they made them grounded enough to be a threat that it's like, oh snap, like I wouldn't dare go out of my way to mess with this person if I saw them on the street. Like, they'd literally like take you down in an instant if they can. So when you're able to build up even some lower tier villains like that, I think, to me, it still adds on to the character's growth. You said, what's up? You said, which MCU project are you most anticipating, not including films, in 2025? Daredevil Born Again for sure. I'd say Daredevil Born Again is my top most anticipated. Now, I know a lot of people are like, wait a minute, I thought Your Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man would be your number one. It's my number two, but its number one is Daredevil, because I grew up with the Daredevil series. Like, I was in like high school when the seasons came out. So I would have friends in school where we would talk a little bit about Daredevil. Like, hey, you seen the newest Daredevil episode? Or you seen the latest season, or whatever the case may be, right? So for me, Daredevil is just a show that I've always like had this big, fond of, because again, I watched the show. I've seen the show so many times. I'm currently rewatching the show right now to get prepped for Born Again. So, again, I'd say Daredevil Born Again is my most anticipated. And then Your Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man right after. And then number 3, like you said, not including films. So for me, because I'm not really looking forward to Marvel Zombies, because it's just, to me, it just feels like What If Part 2, Marvel Zombies, to me. And I'm not really for that, because I don't like What If. I don't like What If. There's been some cool things in What If. I'll give you that. But I don't like What If personally. I just think the concept, when you base the concept in just the MCU stature, I feel like you've already, in a way, limited yourself to what you could do with the What If brand. And like I said, to me, What If should have been this whole big thing where Marvel goes all out, doing different animation styles, to kind of compensate with different stories and have that sort of thing. To me, that's what If should have been. Go to different time periods, have different animation styles from different time periods, in my honest opinion. What about 2026 and 2027 MCU movies? So MCU movies, as far as 2026, 2027, honestly, I feel like if we are getting a Doctor Strange 3, which I think we are, I think there was a report of that. I'd say Doctor Strange 3, because even though I had some issues with Multiverse of Madness, I will say it did get me intrigued as far as Doctor Strange's story going forward. What are they going to do with Doctor Strange? And I said it before and I'll say it again. Marvel Universe, not Spider-Man, not Iron Man, Doctor Strange. And there's a lot of reasons why Doctor Strange should be the anchor being, but that's just my honest opinion on it. Because he was the only one that knew Tony had to sacrifice himself in Endgame. How would he know that? Unless he, again, there was like how many? There was like 4 million possibilities, and only 2 of them they won. So to me, it's like, okay, how would you know that? To me, that's why I feel like the catalyst of this all started, because Doctor Strange probably went into time. He went into the future. He tried to see all these possibilities about what happened in Endgame, with Infinity War and Endgame. And then you kind of can lead off into that with the multiverse saga, like, yo, Doctor Strange, you really did mess up the multiverse, because you went into other universes to see the possibility of what would happen in your universe, and that's what causes this whole big thing, in my honest opinion. So that's how I would do it. What's up, Amber? How you doing? Welcome to the stream. Who's your favorite superhero team? The X-Men. I love the X-Men. I've always loved the X-Men since X-Men the animated series, because that came out in the 90s, 2000s kids. So for me, we had reruns on Fox Kids, and Fox Kids used to come on Saturday morning. If you guys remember, you had Fox Kids, you had ABC Kids, you had all that come on Saturday morning. So for me, it was like, then you had anime. You had anime that came on Saturday mornings too. So from 2000 to 2009, I'd say, like, that was the last generation where we experienced Saturday morning cartoons. New cartoons, but also cartoons that had reruns. So then you had your Power Rangers that came on too. So again, it was a whole mixed bag back then. But to go back to your point, X-Men, I read X-Men comics. Jim Lee is my favorite, one of my favorite comic book artists of all time. I love his run. I love just some of the Uncanny X-Men stuff from back in the day. I haven't really read some of the newer X-Men stuff, but a lot of Uncanny X-Men I've read. Like I said, Jim Lee's X-Men I've read, And like I said, to me, that's where my bag is. I love the 90s, 80s X-Men stuff. Even though some of it was kind of weird, some of it was good, some of it was bad, but still, just from that point of time, that's why I think X-Men 97, it resonates well with a lot of people, not because it's an original, not because it's a reboot of a series that came out, but because I just think that time in the X-Men is kind of one of the more interesting parts of the X-Men characters. Do you have a top five fictional characters? Do they have to be like do they have to be superheroes? Because I will say one, Percy Jackson. I love Percy Jackson. I'm looking forward to season 2 of Percy Jackson. I do see that there were some things with the first season that kind of were off about the series, so I'm hoping they can course correct in season 2. But Percy Jackson for sure. I was more of a Percy Jackson kid than I was a Harry Potter kid. Harry Potter never really appealed to me. So Percy Jackson though, because I love learning about the Greek gods and goddesses and that sort of thing. I did a whole project on that in school. So for me, getting familiar with some of that mythology, it was just a lot more. It was just a lot more for me to cling on to with that series. But I mean, Spider-Man is definitely up there too. Uh, Spider-Man, Percy Jackson, Scott Pilgrim. I think Scott Pilgrim is a really interesting, fictional character. This whole thing where his life is based on a game where he has to fight his girlfriend's 7 evil exes, and it's just treated like a full-on boss battle, which I love video games where it's basically like that, where it's like a boss battle, and there's some story in there. And I like romantic stories, even though I technically wouldn't call Scott Pilgrim a romantic story, but there's some romantic elements, but also these characters are flawed. These characters can get messy sometimes. And that's very relatable to, relationships that I had seen growing up in school and just that sort of thing. So for me, Scott Pilgrim is definitely on the top 5 fictional characters. And then Looney Tunes, like Bugs Bunny, right? Like Bugs Bunny, iconic. Looney Tunes. I just love the Looney Tunes as a whole ever since I was a child. So for me, most definitely is up there. So Spider-Man, Percy Jackson, Scott Pilgrim, Bugs Bunny, and I have to put another 5th fictional character up there. I'd say Sonic. I like Sonic, and maybe that might be recency biased because I just seen Sonic 3 today, but I like Sonic. I think Sonic as a whole, he's again a very interesting character, and the world around him is very interesting too. So those would be my 5. You said the Mutant Saga will be the next saga, and they're going down the soft reboot route. I definitely see that happening. Definitely Mutant Saga. Kevin Feige has been talking about the X-Men. He's kind of been teasing it for a little bit. And he said that in some of these projects, so maybe Captain America, maybe Thunderbolts, maybe Fantastic Four, whatever, we might get little hints and teases of the X-Men coming in, which, I mean, in a way, we kind of already have, with the whole little, X-Men theme and Miss Marvel that they kind of teased off. Then you have, Beast at the end in the Marvel's post-credit scene. So we sort of are starting to see, and then obviously Deadpool and Wolverine, even though we don't really know if that's going to be canon to the MCU, I really don't think it is. I don't see Deadpool and Wolverine as canon to the MCU. I see it as a side story, kind of like in the comics where, you'd have the mainline version of the storyline that's going on, but then you have these other comics that kind of branch off into their own stories. To me, that's what I see Deadpool and Wolverine as. Star Wars or DC? DC. I've never really been a Star Wars fan. And I know there might be some Star Wars fans out there that would probably hate me for saying that, but I don't know. I've never really gotten into the world of Star Wars. I just don't think it's for me personally. I don't. And I know that it's like that in every community. Every community has their toxic fandoms. So, you're going to have people who just ruin it. But I feel like Star Wars, their community is a lot more hardcore fan driven. You know what I mean? With Marvel and DC, it's kind of like you can come into this as a casual and kind of see like, okay, I know this character. I know that character. Okay, I haven't seen that character before. Let me know about this character. What comics do I need to read about this character to learn more? And I feel like Marvel and DC fans, for the most part, are very open when it comes to that, inviting people in. Okay, read comic number 17 over here, read comic number 34 for that, and things of that nature. So it feels very different. But with Star Wars, it's like, if you haven't seen Return of the Jedi or what, all these other movies that come out, it's kind of like, why are you here? You haven't seen every single Star Wars show and movie. You can't be here. Be gone. That's what it feels like to me. What about your favorite DC team? My favorite DC team is Teen Titans. Love the Teen Titans. I know a lot of people are going to say Justice League. The Justice League is cool, but I've always resonated with the Teen Titans. With the cartoon growing up and, just reading about the Teen Titans. Like I said, I've showed off my comic books before, but the artist Gabriel Piccolo, who I'm sure you guys have seen his work before, he does like a very modern take on the Teen Titans. I've always said that needs to be an animated series. His style to me is just very mellow. I love how his style is just this modern take on the Teen Titans. So for me, it's always going to be Teen Titans for the team. But who knows? That may change. We got some teams coming up. It seems like with Superman, they could be teasing Justice League. They could be, with the Engineer, she's with the Authority. So, I think the Authority is still going to be a movie that's going to come out at some point in the DCU. So who knows? Maybe it might be the Authority. Maybe it might be this new Justice League. We'll have to see. But for me, Teen Titans will always have my heart. Let's see. What's up, Nostalgic? He said, I have good hopes for this movie, but I think it'll be mid for Captain America. And you know what? Like I said, that's fair. That's a fair point because, again, we've had a lot of movies. Sometimes we've had movies that feel very hype-wise and then turn out to not be as good. And then there's been movies where the hype has been kind of, and then the movie ends up being really good. So, it's just a matter of an opinion. And I hope the movie's good. I want this movie to be good because, like I said, I want them to really set it straight that Sam Wilson is Captain America. He can be Captain America. He can take on this leading role in the 2 Avengers films that we're going to be building up to. I don't want this to feel like it's a rush thing, which in a way it already feels rushed in my opinion in certain aspects. But like I said, I wish we would have gotten more time with these characters. I really wish in some points, I do wish Marvel would have just taken a back seat for a little bit and kind of just, establish these characters a little more. Because you have characters that people are asking about. Yo, when are we seeing Moon Knight again? Where are we seeing Cassie Lang? Where are we going to see the Eternals? Where are we going to see these characters? And to me, with the whole thing about doing movies and TV shows with production, sometimes it's hard because you have ideas that you want to do here, but then you have to move that to there. And that's what's going on with Blade right now. Like, as much as people like to joke about Blade saying, oh, the movie's never coming out, it's never going to happen. I think personally it is going to happen. It's just that right now, it's just that there's so much going on that it's just like, they're trying to figure out where to put things and how this is going to tie into this. And when they do this soft reboot, I hope Marvel goes back to just telling stories that don't need to build into this big giant thing down the road. You don't have to do that. Marvel has, superhero genre has built itself for history by doing stories that can just be a one and done. There doesn't need to be a bigger build up to something else. You can do that. And I think if they started doing more stories where this doesn't have to build into some world-changing event, I think that's something that will help them greatly. And that might be why Blade might be delayed again, because maybe there's something else, which I I said it in our stream where we wrote a script for Blade, which I definitely want to do maybe like a part two to that, because that was fun, kind of doing like a writing a script for Blade, or just kind of giving ideas about what the movie could do. So if you guys want to see another stream like that, I would definitely love to do that. But you know, I think there's bigger plans for Blade. Like I for some reason I just have that feeling like there might be bigger plans for Blade, but we just don't know what it is yet. And that's all part of the creative process of just any movie. We don't really know. Have you seen the trailer for Sinners? I have not, but it is one of my most anticipated. It is on my list of my most anticipated movies of this year. I love vampire movies, and kind of the fact that we're getting like a 30s era vampire style kind of movie with that sort of thing. I'm really interested about that. And also Michael B. Jordan. I think Michael B. Jordan's a great actor and things of that nature. I have higher hopes for the Thunderbolts. And yeah, that's fair, because I mean the Thunderbolts are setting up some things that could be pertaining to things in the future. We got Sentry in the mix. Really curious about Sentry, because Sentry is, to my knowledge, I don't know too much about Sentry, but I do know he's like a very popular, not very popular, but very powerful character. So there is some things there that they can do with Sentry that they'll probably build up to with other stuff in the future. And then we don't really know about, is this going to tie into Daredevil Born Again? Because, if they're going down the Devil's Reign territory, I could see something where Kingpin maybe asks, I don't know her name, Val, I think that's her name, Val, for a favor. And maybe that favor could be that, Kingpin maybe recruits the Thunderbolts to kind of take order in the city of New York, similar to what they did with the Devil's Reign. I could see that. So, like I said, we'll just have to see. You said people are hating on the movie, hating on this movie, and it didn't even come out. Like what? Yeah. You know what? This is really common. It doesn't matter. It could be a movie about Captain America, a movie about anything. There's always going to be a group of people who haven't even seen the movie, who judge it harshly and say, oh, this movie's going to be mid, this movie's going to be bad, or things of that nature. And again, you have your own opinion. Sometimes a trailer didn't serve you well, and it didn't appetize you. So you're like, yeah, I don't know about seeing this movie. But, a lot of people keep going off of, one of the biggest arguments I keep seeing about this movie is the reshoots. And I'm like, people, reshoots happen in movies more than you know. It's just that they're not documented as much. And I think that might be, to me, on that aspect, I kind of wish Marvel didn't give that stuff away. Like, there's some things you can give away about the process and things of that nature. But when it comes to the reshoots, people just go all ballistic, like it's the end of the world, or this movie's going to be bad because there's reshoots. A lot of movies have had reshoots or alternate endings or alternate choices, and sometimes studios do that to kind of fool people in a way to not really knowing what's going on. That could be the case. Maybe, because there are scoopers who online who do scope out leaks and stuff for movies. So maybe Marvel said, like, you know what? Let's film multiple scenes. And just kind of test and see which one people like. If they like this one, we might go with this one. If they don't like this one, we might not go with this one. So maybe it could be a situation like that, but that's one of the biggest complaints I've seen Also, I feel like people online are now becoming color grading enthusiasts. And I'm like, okay, where is this coming from? Doesn't it feel like every single time a movie trailer comes out, people are always complaining about color grading? And I get it. Sometimes the grayscale thing does not work for every movie. And I want to say that. The grayscale template that they use for a lot of movies, it doesn't really work with a lot of movies. It kind of feels out of place. I will admit to that. But I do feel like there are a lot of people who use color grading as another reason to just hate on something. And it's like, you know, they're not even finished with the production of this movie. Give it time, because a lot of that color grading stuff, it takes a lot of time. It takes more time than people realize. As a YouTuber, I do a lot of color grading in my videos. I have to figure out what colors work, what colors don't work to kind of brighten myself out on screen. Because if not, it's just going to be like it is right now, this dull image that you're getting. But in my videos, I try to, you know, test out the brightness, the colors, all that different stuff I'm testing out to see what works, what doesn't work, what people like more, what feels a little bit in the mood. And sometimes I like to see whatever I'm talking about is whatever mood I decide to give it. So sometimes it just depends on that too. So I think people need to start looking at that. Sometimes not everything is set in stone when you see a trailer. Things are going to change. Color grading is going to change within movies. But then you have the opposite side of people who complain about the Superman trailer being too bright and too colorful. And I'm like, what are we doing? Like, you just complain that movies have this grayscale thing template going on, but then when you have a trailer like Superman, who clearly has a lot of color, a lot of vibrancy, a lot of different elements going on, and then you say it's too bright. Like, I don't get people's complaints. To me, it just feels very wishy-washy. People don't really know what they want, and that's a problem. He said, I know, right? They don't like that Sam is Captain America because he's black. Yeah, there's a lot of that leans into that. There is a lot of people who feel like, you know, Bucky should have taken it. Steve Rogers should have still been Captain America. You know, we don't want a black man on our screen being Captain America because, again, for whatever reason, they think Disney or Marvel or any of these companies have like a big checklist that they have to check off of this stuff. And I'm just like, these are fictional characters. You know, these are fictional characters. And a lot of these characters are going, in some part, have some liberty taken from the comics, right? Like, not everything is going to be a one-to-one, which I've said this many times, but I feel like people expect every single Marvel project to be a one-to-one from the comics. And it's not going to be that way. This universe was never set up to be a one-to-one of the comic universe. If you want to do that, go read the comics. That's what they're for. If you want to go see certain things that you wish they should have done, that's what the comics are for. Go check that out. Sometimes people just want to do a different story, and that's okay. It just depends on how the story is. That's what matters. Is this a good story? Why did you feel the need to tell this story? These are the questions that people should be asking. What made me want to go to the theater to be excited for a Captain America movie? So that's how the way I see it, as like I said, someone who is working to be an actor, but also a director himself. I'm always asking questions when I write certain things. Because yes, I do write things, but I haven't really shared anything that I've written. But I have wrote things about movie ideas that I've had, TV show ideas. And the first question I always ask myself is, why do I want to write this story? What inspired me to write this story? And same with videos, right? I do the same thing when it comes to my videos. Is this something that people want to hear about? Is this something that people want to see me talk about? Or is this just something that I just, snowballed an idea just to see if it will land? Sometimes that happens. I do snowball ideas sometimes about videos just to see maybe, where it could go. And Sometimes it goes somewhere, sometimes it doesn't. But again, it's just all a matter of taking that risk. Yeah, we know that's the reason. Yeah. I do have high hopes for the Thunderbolts too, because U.S. Agent, I like him in Falcon and the Winter Soldier. He's like a real villain, and then the Flag Smashers. Yeah, John Walker. He was definitely a menace in that show, and I'll never forget. I think it was episode 5. I'll never forget people talking about that episode alone because of what he did. He literally smashed that person to bits and pieces with his shield. We didn't have to see the damage. We knew the damage was done by the shield. The blood on the shield was enough damage for people to know, like, oh snap, this guy's dead. And so yeah. But I do feel like with that show, I do wish there were certain liberties that they would have taken differently in terms of Sam's story. But again, I just it like I said, it's and then they don't go a certain way. And then again, people also got to realize a lot of these shows were coming out during a pandemic we were going through. Like a lot of these shows and stuff, they were working through pandemic. So a lot of ideas that they had to cut due to pandemic sensibilities, because I believe the original idea for this series was going to be about some kind of infected virus or something that was going to go out to the world, right? And I think they cut that because, again, when you have the pandemic that we went through, there may be some sensibility there, so they cut that. So that's why I think with, the Saber character in Captain America, Brave New World, there was controversy with that, and I believe there still is. There's still people not happy about that character being in there. But to the expense, like, they had probably had that character planned way before any of the events of this happened. They didn't know that there was going to be a whole war going on. They didn't know that. So to me, it's just like it's an unfortunate circumstance where something just happened, and then you got to take into account the how people are feeling about that. And I don't know, like I said, it's a tug of war situation, because it's like you try to do something different with the character, people don't like it. You think about removing the character, people still don't like it. So it's like it's just a back and forth. It's just a back and forth, man. See, the sinners, why they always make these devilish movies? It's about I think to some degree there is a lot of interest in the paranormal world of things. Vampires, zombies, all that stuff. I think that's just always been a part of the moniker, because people are interested in that. People are interested in the aliens and just the unknown. People are curious about that sort of thing. So that's why I feel like these kind of movies are, being made, because people are curious about the unknown. They want to know more about it. So that's why I think they do movies like that. I don't try to watch movies like that all the time, because sometimes what you watch, it does kind of mess with you. So if say, for example, you watch a lot of crime shows and all you see is just killing and crime, right? That's all your mind is going to in some way kind of think about, but also your mood is going to kind of show that off too, because it's like, well, dang, I just saw someone fall from a 10-foot building, right? Like, and just seeing the damage of that, right? Like when you constantly see that, it just makes your mind feel like that's all you see and that's all you know. And that isn't always the case. So sometimes you have to break away from that and do something more lighthearted. Which, speaking of that, I saw a video yesterday. I don't know the person's name, but I did see a video about them talking about the Dark Superman stuff, why it needs to stop. And there's a lot of things in that video that I agree with. because I do feel like in this day and age, there has been a lot of dark Superman-esque stuff. You know, say what you will about the boys. I like the boys, but I will say I do feel like in some way the show did kind of do some damage to the Superman image when it comes to Homelander, because Homelander has been the same character he's always been since the first season, in my honest opinion. He has some character growth, but then the character growth just gets taken away because he's, you know, ripped to shreds an entire crowd, right? To me, that just takes away from that. And then you have Omni-Man. You have, and I like Invincible. I like that world, but I do feel like Invincible in some way kind of has kind of messed up the Superman thing too, because well, Omni-Man, you have this very powerful character who's an alien, and you think at the beginning, you know, he's, you know, being a hero, but then you find out like Omni-Man is like straight up really bad guy who, you know, has these just evil tendencies, who sometimes just does not care what he does or who he hurts. So I did like really agree with what that person was saying. And even in some of the Superman animated stuff that they did in recent times has that dark Superman element. And it's just, it's something that needs to stop. I think people feel like dark equals good. If a movie is this dark, if a movie or a TV show isn't this dark, gritty effect where I see blood splattered, people feel like it's weak. It's weak storytelling. But the problem is you're allowing yourself to see all these dark, you know, stories, but you're not getting a balance. There needs to be a balance of good. You need, in order to have dark, you got to have light. In order to have good, you got to have bad. That's just the balance of how things work. You know? And so for me, when all you see is this dark, gritty stuff where again, it's just about that and that's what people want. They think that's proper adult storytelling. I think that's when it becomes a problem for the consumer, because that's all they'll expect is these dark, gritty stories. That's why I'm glad and I'm hoping with James Gunn's Superman that this is a lighthearted story. And by the trailer, it feels that way. It feels like it's a lighthearted story. It feels like we're going to see Superman go through adversity, go through these trials, but he's going to overcome them and show that he is the beacon of hope. He is the man of tomorrow. Like we're going to see that in that film. So I just hope that Superman movie really does give people, really does give people that sense of hope, because I feel like we're missing that with superheroes. And nowadays it feels like we're missing that taste of hope, in my honest opinion. I don't know, probably for money. When they bring in the X-Men in the MCU, the leader might be responsible for giving adamantium to Logan. I could definitely see that happening. I just only have one issue, because we've been dealing with this for 20 plus years. I love Wolverine. Wolverine's a great character, but he does not need to mainline the X-Men. Let Cyclops be the leader. That's why X-Men 97 was such a breath of fresh air, because people get to see who Cyclops really is. In the comics, Cyclops, he's really that guy. People think that Cyclops is just this Boy Scout character like Superman. And it's like, no, there's a lot of depth with Cyclops. There's a lot of things he's gone through. And just throughout that, his evolution, there's a lot that you get to explore about his character. He's no perfect character. He's made mistakes. But who hasn't? We're all human. We all make mistakes every single time. But it's when you learn from those mistakes and you learn not to make them again, and to inspire other people to not make those same mistakes, to me, is what makes you learning to become a better person for yourself and for the world around you. But that's just my thing. I just don't want Logan, I don't want Wolverine to be the mainline character in the MCU. It's okay if Wolverine has his own separate stories. It's okay if Wolverine takes a back seat in the X-Men. He's done that in the comics before. There's been other characters who, give them some shine. Cyclops, Jean, Gambit, Rogue, Beast, Jubilee. Like, there's a lot of characters in the X-Men. It isn't just a Wolverine thing. So I hope they don't go through that again. I want them to show off the X-Men and what they're able to do, because they can do some great things. Daredevil Born Again trailer was good. Can't wait for the show. Yeah, I can't wait for it either. Like I said, it's my most anticipated show of this year. I'm looking forward to it, and I just hope I have a very strong feeling that this show is going to deliver in not just the ways of the dark and gritty stuff, but also just the storytelling stuff that people love about the original Daredevil series. See, people scream woke anytime the main character isn't a white male. Exactly. Like I said, I remember when Into the Spider-Verse came out, the trailer, and there were some people who were with it, but then you had that group of people who just did not like the fact that there's a black Spider-Man. Even though years before the Spider-Verse movies came out, Miles Morales was already an established character because he was introduced in 2011. But like I said, for a lot of people like me, their first exposure to the character was through the Spider-Verse movie, or maybe through, the Insomniac Spider-Man games. So for a lot of people, again, when you get that exposure from the movies, it's kind of like, oh, wow. You go back and you look into the history of these characters and you're like, wow, they actually been here a lot longer than I thought they were. Because I legit thought Miles Morales was like a brand new, fresh character that they just made up for this story. Like, I didn't know that Miles Morales was a character for like 7 years. I think like 7 years in the making. Like, I did not know that until, like I said, I did research about it. And then I went and read some of the Miles Morales comics that came out. And I'm like, yo, like this character's dope. I see why they made a movie about him. And what makes it cool is that we have people, when you say, who's your Spider-Man? There's going to be people who say Peter Parker. There's going to be people who say Miles Morales. There's going to be people who say Gwen Stacy and Miguel O'Hara and Hobie Brown, and all these different versions and variants of Spider-Man that we've gotten throughout the years and are continuing to get. There's going to be people who have a certain Spider-Man variant that they like, It's the same way with, when you think about the animated shows, right? There's going to be people who love Spider-Man, the animated series. There's going to be people who love the Spectacular Spider-Man. There's going to be people who like the new animated series. There's going to be people who like Ultimate Spider-Man. And that's why I think what makes it so cool is that there's so many different versions that, we all have a connection to this character in some way, shape, or form. Let's see. I'm going to go down in the comments. I didn't like John. I thought he was annoying, and I hate so much. Yeah, he was mad annoying in the show. I will give him that. He was mad annoying. I was like, get this dude off my screen. Like, I don't want to hear his voice. Like, John Walker definitely had a punchable face. I will give you that. So I definitely know how you feel. Maybe the Thunderbolts can be a turnaround. Maybe so. Will, do you think Beyond the Spider-Verse would be any good with all the Shimmy more drama? Okay, I do want to get into that. I talked about it before. I do think Beyond the Spider-Verse will be good. I know there's a lot of people online who are still like, what? They haven't even recorded their lines yet? What are we doing? But I think what a lot of people, I think people have to take into consideration that these movies take a long time to make. This isn't just like a cut and dry thing. Like, there's a big process when it comes to, making this movie. I have the art book, and it took us 5 years to get into the Spider-Verse. It took us 5 years to get across the Spider-Verse, and I would imagine it may take us 5-6 years, maybe even 7, to get beyond the Spider-Verse. Because when you think about the title Beyond the Spider-Verse, what did they mean by Beyond the Spider-Verse? there's definitely going to be some new. I wouldn't be surprised if there's some new elements or techniques that might get used in Beyond the Spider-Verse that we haven't seen before. Because again, if you would have asked me that we would have had like a Lego Spider-Man dimension in the movie, I would have said, nah, ain't no way that's happening. But they made it happen. Shout out to Lego Me, very talented Lego creator. And like I said, I used to grow up watching those Lego animations and stuff online, the stop motion Lego stuff. I had an interest in that online. So when you have that, you also have like the color painting, the watercolor. There's so many different art styles and techniques in across the Spider-Verse that I'm sure they're going to add more into with Beyond the Spider-Verse. So there might be some mixing and blending of new captivating styles that we haven't even seen before that we might see in Beyond the Spider-Verse. And I think that's why it's taking so long. That's why we haven't gotten an announcement about when the film is coming out, because I feel like there's so much work that they're probably doing right now that we haven't gotten anything. But to answer your point about the Shamik Moore stuff, I do want to say this. I really wish Shamik Moore would just, chill, man. Like just chill. I'm not going to go in on him like a lot of people do online and make all these jokes. I just think that to me, Shamik Moore just needs a good woman in his life. And I think that's what he's going through right now. And he's talented. Don't get it wrong. Shamik Moore has been in a lot of stuff. Dope. The Get Down, that show that got canceled on Netflix, a really good show. I hate that show got canceled. It's really good. So he's been in a good list of stuff. And I think that Shamik Moore, he has the ability to find him a woman, but I just think that I don't know. I just feel like sometimes maybe he just feels like people that he's in that industry with, maybe he feels like he can have a connection with. That's why I think the Haley Steinfeld stuff bothered him. He liked her. You could tell that he liked her, even if she didn't feel the same. And even with the whole, I forgot what her name was, but like him posting her on Twitter, I feel like that wasn't a good idea. She told him to delete that. He should have deleted that and just went about his merry way. He shouldn't have made that post to insinuate they were in a relationship when she was getting married. Like, that's not a good idea. That's not how you want to do things, especially on a professional level. So I just feel like, to me, he just needs a good woman in his life. He just needs to chill, focus on his craft, and the right woman will come for him. The right woman will come to Shamik Moore, and when she does, he's going to be the happiest guy on earth. So he should just chill, focus on his craft, keep doing what he does, bringing us the Miles Morales character in such a dope way, but also his other projects, and I think he'll be all right. I don't know him personally, so I can't really, in my personal opinion, I can't really go on him and make all these jokes, because again, I don't know what he's going through. I don't know what he's dealing with, and we all deal with our own sense of problems when it comes to maybe relationships or the dating field. So I have no reason to judge anyone else for what they do. It's just about what you do and how you do it, and learning to be professional, because in that space you have to be professional. And I just don't think what he's done has been very professional, but I hope he learns. I really hope he learns from his mistakes and he can just move on and just better himself. So that's how I feel about that. So I hope that answered your question. Devil's Reign is a good comic book event. I love the tie-in comic villains for hire. With Kingpin's Thunderbolts, it is more likely will be adapted into the MCU after the Thunderbolts, for sure. That's why I say, I feel like them introducing the Thunderbolts asterisk, because we don't know if they're going to be the Dark Avengers, but we do know the Thunderbolts are going to be in Avengers Doomsday and Secret Wars, so we do know that they're going to be in that. So I feel like after the reboot that they do, they're going to drive into the street level, Spidey, Daredevil team up, Devil's Reign, You know, maybe a Heroes for Hire show. I would love to see that with Luke Cage and Iron Fist. Maybe they can do an Iron Fist in Shang-Chi crossover movie at some point. I think that would be cool. We are getting Shang-Chi 2 at some point. So maybe they could tease that for Shang-Chi 3 or whatever. So yeah. Who's your top 3 favorite characters in The Boys? Uh For me, with Butcher is definitely an interesting character. I won't say he's a good character, but he's an interesting character. Um, Starlight, I think Starlight had an interesting character development. I love her and Huey's little relationship. That it was a little weird though. I will say this: it was a little weird in last season with the whole alien thing that was going on. That was a little odd. I ain't gonna lie, but this is The Boys we're talking about. The Boys, they go there, so this is really nothing new. What's up, Alexander? How you doing, man? It's snowing, yeah. I'm sure it's snowing here. I just don't know it yet, but I'm sure it's snowing outside. Your screen is blurry. Yeah, I know. I know it's blurry. I put my new webcam on and I thought maybe it would, be better, but it's not better. So maybe I need to go back to start doing, stuff on my phone, because just the quality is a lot better on my phone, and I'm sure you guys see me a lot better on my phone too. So I don't know what's going on with that. So I apologize. Oh yeah, the girl from Spider-Man Homecoming who played Liz. Yeah, Liz Allen. Yeah. You see, I'm not gonna lie, The Boys and Invincible had me thinking about violence for sure. Yeah, because again, like when you see someone's head get disintegrated, or like I said, just constant, just big chunks of blood just splattered everywhere. It's kind of like that's all your mind is like thinking about, like how far can they go? And Invincible and The Boys have gone really far in terms of the things that they've done in terms of violently. And it's like that, I'm sure in the comics too. I'm sure there's very violent stuff going on too. And so yeah, so they're kind of keeping it true to what has been shown. But like I said, when that's all you see, it's kind of hard. And I've brought it up many times, and I really don't like talking about it, but because I know how a certain group of people get. But like with the Superman, Man of Steel and the Snyder Superman stuff, right? Like when people get upset about this new Superman movie coming out because it's not Zack Snyder directing it, or it's not Henry Cavill, being Superman. I just feel like there's a big section of that community who feels like what Zack Snyder did is how Superman should operate. And it's like, no, Superman does not operate that way. There's been versions of Superman who have operated that way. But Superman is not going to just let a building fall on people. He's going to try to, prevent that building from falling on people as much as he can. Sometimes he's able to, sometimes he's not. But the times when he's not able to, those are the moments where it bothers him the most, because he's like, I should have been here earlier. I wish I would have been there. I should have done that. Like he's going through it. You know what I mean? Because he wasn't able to save those people. And they think that with Henry Cavill's Superman, oh yeah, a building just fallen and killed multiple innocent people. Okay, that's fine. I can go on about my day. And it's like, what? Like you're Superman. You're supposed to have some kind of remorse or some kind of guilt or mercy or something, but his version just did not have that. And even with his Clark Kent, it's just literally Henry Cavill with glasses on. Like it's not Clark Kent like in the Superman trailer where you see him, with this ridiculous haircut and he has the glasses on and he's kind of, oh, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to bump into you, and all this stuff. Like, you see the Clark Kent in that version in the trailer. But with Henry Cavill, it's just like, yeah, I'm Clark Kent. I got glasses on. I'm the coolest guy in here. What are you gonna do about it? Like, that's not how that's supposed to be. But again, that's his version, and I just think people kind of a lot of people hold Zack Snyder's universe into this high regard, and it's like, looking back at it in hindsight, it could have been a lot better. I'm just being honest. It could have been a lot better. But like I said, this was so dope about the DCU is they get to start over, they get to start fresh, and give us a lot of the things that people want to see with the Superman movie, and hopefully we do see. But I'll get into Superman more tomorrow. Like I said, I got a big stream tomorrow. Well, not a big stream, but I have a stream planned tomorrow where we'll get into Superman and kind of a prediction sort of thing. So, yeah. You said I've been wanting a Shang-Chi sequel ever since the first movie came out, but I think Shang-Chi and Katie are going to be in the new Avengers movie. Yeah, for sure. They're definitely going to be in Avengers. For sure. But like I said, I did hear a report about a Shang-Chi sequel could be happening alongside Doctor Strange 3. I did hear that recently. So that might be something that they plan on doing. I don't know if they plan on doing it next year. They could, but then that would answer the question, okay, what is Destin Cretton going to be able to direct Shang-Chi 2 and Spider-Man 4? Because he would have to do double duty, because he would have to direct both of those films. And I don't know. I don't know if he wants to do that. He could, but I just don't know. And then even with Spider-Man 4, it's just there's been so many rumors about that film that every time I hear a rumor about that film, I don't know. Like, you get the Venom and Noel stuff, then you had the Ghost Rider and Mephisto stuff, then there was something about Ant-Man at some point being in Spider-Man 4. It was just like, what's going on with that movie right now? Like, it's just in an uncertain place. And I don't even know if that movie's going to come out when they say it is, because it was just announced, I think yesterday, that Tom Holland is the main lead in the Christopher Nolan film, the new film that's supposed to be dropping that same year. So I don't even know on that front. I'm excited that the director for Shang-Chi is directing Spider-Man 4. I think he would do it really well. Yeah, I think so too. Although I will say, I hope, I did want the brothers that did Bad Boys Ride or Die. I did want them to direct the movie, because what I saw with Bad Boys Ride or Die, just the camera angles and the cinematography they did, and they could probably still get them for cinematography. But I think just them, having the different elements in the movie and camera angles and stuff, I think that would play in really well to this new trilogy of Spider-Man, where we see him, again, being this character who swings around the city, who doesn't need handout from a billionaire, who doesn't need a handout from anyone. He's going to become his own Spider-Man throughout this trilogy, I would hope. So I just think, them being really good with that film. Let me see. I'm actually going to look up Bad Boys Ride or Die directors. I'm actually going to look them up, because I don't know their names, but I just know that they did a really good job, in my opinion, on that film. So let's see. Here we go. Bad Boys directors. These guys right here. I'm trying to get a better picture. Nope, that's going straight to the article. You can kind of see it right there, if you guys can see the little picture there. These guys right here, they did a really good job, in my opinion, on the film. And I just think personally, they would have been really good for the direction of it, but also the cinematography. But Destin, I think he'll do a really good job with Spider-Man 4 as well. So it's only a matter of time that we'll find out something about it. Also, did you see that Tom Holland and Zendaya are engaged? Yes, I did. I did see that. Both were seen wearing rings. Yeah. They shared an image. What was it? A week ago, right? So yeah. Shout out to them. Let's see. Wally West's DCU Flash could work. If that happens, the suit should be a mix of the Flash suit Wally wears and Wally's rebirth suit with the silver lightning bolt and belt, even the silver. Okay, that's an interesting choice for that. I don't really know too much about that. Let's see. You said Wally West rebirth, right? Let's see. Wally West rebirth suit. Ooh, okay. I actually like this suit. Not gonna lie, I kind of like this. Is that the one you're talking about? I wish I had a bigger image. I think that's the one you're talking about, though. But I wish I had a bigger image. But is that the one? Because I do like that suit. So if they do want to introduce Wally West, I think that would be a pretty cool suit for him to wear. That's a cool little art they did. Someone did the suit and then the classic Flash suit, so that's cool. You said mental health isn't the best, and watching shows like The Boys and Invincible just made it worse. Yeah, that's the thing too. You gotta keep into an account when it comes to your mental health that if you watch certain things or listen to certain music, it really does affect your mental health and your mood overall too. So that's something to take into effect. So if you feel like you need to turn the show off, there's nothing wrong with that. That doesn't make you a coward, or you shouldn't feel bad about it, because you want to watch things that make you feel good, make you feel optimistic. So if that means that you have to turn on, I don't know, SpongeBob, or I don't know, like a Superman, the animated series, or Justice League, or whatever the case, something that gets you optimistic, go for it. Because again, you have to do what's best for your mental health and what's best for you as a person, to be better and just feel better. You said it's crazy. It's crazy how all the other Spider-Man actors dated their co-stars, but they broke up. But his Tom is the only one that's still standing. Yeah, it really does. Yeah, it's really interesting. There has to be something there with Spider-Man and co-stars and stuff. I guess there's a certain aura that comes with that, I would say. But for Tom, like I said, it does seem like Tom and Zendaya do really love each other, and they do really enjoy spending time with each other. So I hope it works out for them. I wish them nothing but the best. So yeah, I think they're going to start working on the live action Miles Morales movie after Beyond the Spider-Verse. I agree, because Amy Pascal, she's gone on the record to saying that they've been in talks about a Miles Morales movie for quite a while now, some years. And I gotta be honest, I don't think I can play Miles Morales because I'm getting older and older. I'm 23. I'll be 24 this year. So as much as it would be a dream to play Miles Morales, like I would legit love that, I just feel like, I don't know. I just feel like I by the time the movie comes out, I'm gonna be way too old. So I won't even be able to play the character. Now, if anyone had offered me to voice the character in a cartoon, that would be cool. If they wanted me to show up as an older Miles in the future, I would be down for that. I would love that. But I don't know. I don't think by the time that movie comes out, I just don't think I would be in the age range to do it. Though Tom Holland, he's like, what, 27, 28? He's still playing Spider-Man, so who knows? Who knows? So, but if I've said it many times, I think Dallas Dupree Young should play Miles Morales. I think he would be a really good Miles Morales, and he said, gone on the record many times and said that he wants to play Miles Morales. So I definitely see Dallas Dupree Young being Miles Morales, and that would be my choice. I got into a lot of fights because of those shows. Yeah, like I said, if it's not good for you, it's not good for your mental health. Sometimes you just gotta take a break from it. And Zack Snyder's Superman was pretty dark. It could have been a little bit more heartwarming, but Superman was just snapping. Yeah, like I said, that's the problem. When all you see for years and years, for years and years is just a dark Superman in cartoons and other sources of media that play jokes on the Superman moniker. If if you have, for example, like I said, you have all of that. It's like people are accustomed to a darker Superman. Like that's all they want. That's all they see the character. And it's like, no, that's not who Superman is. And that's why it's such a breath of fresh air when you have shows like My Adventures with Superman, which I'm looking forward to My Adventures with Superman coming back. And they have some dark themes in that show. There's been some stories, but that Superman has never been portrayed as the Superman, like I said, angry and dark and just snapping on everyone. He's had his moments. We see moments where that Superman is like saving a cat out of a tree. Tell me the last time you've seen Superman save a cat out of a tree. Now, I think that's one of the most, I think people will say that's one of the most niche things, but that's a part of who Superman is. And you see the scene in the Superman trailer where he's saving that girl, right? Shielding her from the falling building. When you see things like that, that is a complete representation of what Superman should be doing in a movie. Not letting a building fall on a little girl and just letting her die. That's not what Superman does. Again, there's been versions that have let that happen, but there's been versions who have been very remorseful for that sort of thing too. So, yeah. But do we need a story when Spider-Man gets But when do we need the story when Spider-Man gets the symbiote and goes crazy with Tom Holland Spider-Man and then Andrew Garfield Spider-Man? They've been teasing the whole symbiote thing. We thought we were going to get something with Venom. But, from what I heard about The Last Dance and just seeing the trailer, them completely revising that, it's kind of like a slap in the face for a lot of people because it's like, you were setting this up and then you have, what's his name from Doctor Strange, which he's not playing Mordo in that movie. You have him trap the symbiote. So it's kind of like, why would you do that? Why would you tease people on like that? So there's going to be some way where the symbiote comes into play. I'd say maybe Battle Worlds. Because there has to be a way for him to get the suit. Because if they're going to do the iconic Secret Wars comic suit, right? If they're going to do the whole moment with him in the suit, which to me, that's one of the coolest moments ever. Which, if you guys haven't seen it, which I'm sure everyone has. I'm sure everyone has at this point. But let's see. Comic. Secret Wars. What does that come out? 1984? Let's see. Cover. Comic cover. Like when you tease stuff like this, right? When people want to see moments like that. Hold on. When people want to see moments like that because they read the original Secret Wars comic, although I know for sure they're not going to go off of that. I'm pretty sure they might take little small bits and pieces there, but they're probably going to go for the 2015 Secret Wars comic, which is the one with Doctor Doom, because we saw that one In Deadpool and Wolverine, you can actually see a torn Secret Wars comic with Doctor Doom on the cover. So no, it wasn't that one. It wasn't that cover. It was that cover right here. This is the one we saw. So they're definitely going to go based off of that run of Secret Wars. Which I'm like, you doing that, but you don't even have Miles in that. Miles was in that Secret Wars run. And I'm like, we don't even have him. So it's like, I don't know how they're going to do this. I don't know how they're going to do this. And if, again, we know that there's been reports of them recasting T'Challa, which they should do, in my honest opinion. T'Challa has a big role in that Secret Wars run too. So to me, it's only fitting that you bring in some of these characters, even if they don't stay long. Just the fact that you brought them in to the story, to me, I think should be what they focus on in, Secret Wars. Not a Doomsday, but Secret Wars. Personally, me, I think Secret Wars should it be 2 movies. Secret Wars should not be 1 movie. It should be 2 movies because so much goes on in Secret Wars that you just can't fit all of that in 1 film. I don't see how they're going to do that because you're taking away a lot of story elements. Caleb McLaughlin from Stranger Things is the best choice for Miles, but the thing is, he's 23 and he will be 24. See, that's the thing. All the different actors and stuff that people fan cast for Miles, they're getting in the age now. They're getting older. Time waits for no one. Hey, Shamika is a 29-year-old man voicing a 16-year-old Miles. 23, you could play Miles Morales. It's not like you're fat. Yeah, that's true. That's true. I will say, though, I have gained a few pounds, so I definitely do need to get back in the gym and start working out again. But like I said, I would love to play the role, even if it is just a small little, well, not a small little cameo, but even if it is just in a cartoon, I would be down to voice him in a cartoon or something. I just love the character of Miles Morales. And I would love to just be dedicated to that character in some capacity. Yeah, that's the suit. Okay, that's the Flash suit you were talking about. Have you seen Kick-Ass? I have not seen Kick-Ass. Well, that's a lie. I have seen Kick-Ass, but I've only seen the first movie. People think Andrew Garfield is the best Spider-Man because he's more comic book accurate. His body is lean while Toby is too buff and Tom is too little. Yeah, as far as like Superman frame, I could As far as like Spider-Man frame, I could see people's argument towards that. Again, it's a tough debate because you're gonna have people say Toby's the best, Andrew's the best, Tom's the best, Shameik Moore is the best, Nigel Jeter's the best. You're gonna have a lot of Yuri Lowenthal. So many different people played Spider-Man throughout the years. And, let's just look into that. Into that. Like, there's so many actors who have played this character. Like, when you really think about it, there's been so many actors who have played this character. And will continue to play this character. Because if you think Tom Holland, they're going to be done after Tom Holland's trilogy, I don't think so. Spider-Man is too popular of a character for them to just end him off after Tom's done. They're going to get another actor. He's going to get recasted at some point. Because again, Spider-Man is just that popular of a character. James Bond. James Bond, another fictional character that has had history of actors constantly playing that character or new actors. This is a good image right here. Hold on a minute. This is a good image. Like when you look at that image, you see all these actors of James Bond, right? Throughout the years, from the 60s, the 70s, the 80s, the 90s, the 2000s, the 2010s, right? And on forward. That character is never going away. As much as people think that James Bond may be kind of wearing on his end, I don't think so personally. I think James Bond is a great character, and there's still more story you can do with them. They're not going to end that character at all. It's not going to happen. So Tom isn't too little whatsoever. I don't think so either. I don't think Tom is too little, because if we look at Tom, let's see, Tom Holland, but I do see people giving that argument about him, about his, like, when you look at this image right here, right? I wish I could zoom in. I wish I could zoom in on these images. But when you look at that, right, and you see Tom right there, he doesn't look small to me. Like, to me, I think to me, I think he's just has a little bit of a slim trim. Like, he's has a little bit of a slim trim because he's playing a teenager. And around that age, a lot of teenagers have sort of like this slim fit thing going on. So it's not really like they, you know, they're small. It's just that's just a part of that was probably a part of the body type structure that they wanted to go for Tom Holland's version. But I'm sure if Tom Holland, if he wanted to bulk up and be a little muscular, he can. Because think about it like this. Like, think about all the Spider-Man versions from the comics, right? Some of them are kind of linky. Some of them are very bulk and muscular. Let's see, comic designs. I wish they could do like a... So, like, you got your John Romita Sr. right here, right? John Romita Sr. was kind of like on the muscular side of things. You know? He had like this very like toned but muscular bulkiness to his design. Then you had like, I think this is Bagley, right? I might be wrong, but I think this is Bagley. You have sort of like a linky, it's still muscular, but also kind of a linky body type to him. And then you have the Tom McFarlane version, which I don't know if you can see it, but you see like Tom McFarlane's version, he's kind of on the muscular buff, like real extra buff side of things. Because in the 90s and 80s, they drew a lot of characters like that. Like, I don't know if you guys noticed that, like, that's a big trend in the 90s. Like, even with like Jim Lee X-Men. So let's look up Jim Lee X-Men. Like, notice all these characters, for the most part. Actually, can I save this image? I might be able to save this image. Hold on a minute. Okay. I don't know if I can. Can I show this on stream? Let me see if I'm pretty sure there's a way. Video file. I'm gonna have to stop it. So let's see. I might be able to share it. Window. Share. So like this right here, right? If we do like a close up, look at how these characters are drawn. Like, these characters are drawn with very muscular muscles on muscles on muscles. That's very unrealistic. You're not going to see people that look like that. But back then, that was a big popular thing. That was what they did back in the day when they drew these characters. Now, obviously, you're not going to see Hugh Jackman look like this. Yeah, Hugh Jackman, he was jacked in Deadpool Wolverine, but you're never going to see him this jacked. You're never going to see Cyclops this jacked unless it's in animation, because they can do that. They can get away with that. You know what I mean? Also, shout out to Jim Lee for the goated artwork. But yeah, like that's just kind of the way, you know, it's always been with just media in general. Um, I just wanted to show that off. I thought that was cool. But yeah, let's see. We can talk about Wally West being the DCU Flash tomorrow. Your Superman video. Yeah, for sure. Like I said, it's gonna be a live stream, so we'll definitely talk DCU stuff. You ever heard of Logan Paul? Yes, I have. And I unfortunately wish that Logan Paul wasn't as big as he is, or gotten as big as he is, because I think, quite honestly, he's a jerk. I watch wrestling, and that promo he did last night talking about he beat Floyd Mayweather. No, you didn't. You didn't beat Floyd Mayweather. Floyd Mayweather knocked you out. But you continue the fight. I'll give you that. You continue the fight. But you didn't beat Floyd Mayweather. And if it was up to me, if I was Floyd Mayweather, I was like, would you like to go again? Would you like to put your money where your mouth is again? But he did not beat Floyd Mayweather. Like, I don't even know why they had him say that. Like, come on now. Why some big people think they can beat you because they're big and buff when size doesn't matter and they fight? That's a big misconception. Like, a lot of people seem to think that because you're big and buff, you work out at the gym, that you're able to fight people. That's not the case. I've seen videos where people have all this talk about, I go to the gym 24/7 and you're not going to do this. And then they get knocked out by someone who doesn't work out that much. It happens. It's just a matter of, again, learning to protect yourself and, you know, knowing where to hit. Because when you know the certain places to hit on the body, you can kind of take someone down. So, you know, people who you've seen in movies, they hit certain pressure points, right? They know how to take someone down by just pressing the lobe of their ears or certain pressure points in their legs or their hands, and they can numb them for a good second and do what they need to do, because that's all you need. Like, you don't need all this big muscular power to be this strong person. It's just when you know to just hit someone in the kneecaps. And I'm not inciting violence. I'm not a violent person. I don't believe in that. But in certain situations, you have to know and learn how to protect yourself and also other people, because there are situations that arise that do kind of call for that. So you got to know where to, you know, stabilize and kind of learn how to neutralize a person, and you handle your business. But hopefully it doesn't ever get to that. It doesn't ever get to that point where you have to do that. I think Tom Holland bulked up more for Spider-Man No Way Home. Yeah, for sure. He definitely looked different in the movie. Like, he definitely did bulk up. There are 15-year-olds bigger than men. Exactly. Like, it feels not too long ago, but I graduated in 2019. And I tell you, when I was leaving high school, there were guys that were freshmen that were legit taller than I was, like built like legit, like men, like grown men. And I'm like, why are you guys here? Like, how are you guys this tall? Like, I wasn't even an inch tall than what you were as a freshman. Like, how? You know, it's the genetics. It's just something about people aging a lot more than they are for some reason. Like, it's so weird because, you know, you look at pictures from people back in the day when they're about 30, they look 60. But now it's like when you see people, they look 60, you know, they may be 60 years old, but they're actually 30. They may be They may be 60 years old, but they look legit 30 years old. It's like, how is that possible? But something about genetics, something about the time of change, which you got to bear in mind back then, the reason why people looked a lot older than they do now is because it has to do with a lot of people smoking. You know, people saying, you know, cigarettes, smoke cigarettes. It's the best thing on earth. It's this. It can help your depression. It can help this. And you saw all those, when people back then saw all those ads for smoking cigarettes, they thought that, you know, smoking cigarettes was going to be this beneficial thing to their health. And then later on, due to research and a lot of things going forward, you find out that no, cigarettes are harmful to you. They're bad for your body, and you shouldn't inhale them because they'll make you look older. They'll make you know, a lot of health issues come with smoking. So I think that's why now, and I'm not saying that people now aren't doing that, because I know there are people that are still smoking cigarettes at this age and doing other things, which, you know, that's their life. But now it's like people look a lot younger than they do back then. And I think a lot of that does have to do with, you know, the changing of the times. And y'all don't know how strong Spider-Man is. He pulls his punches for a reason. Exactly. You know, when Doc Ock took over Peter's body, it became Spider-Man. He punched Rhino straight in the jaw. His jaw came off. Why? And he asked the question. So this is why he's been holding back on me. Because legit, Spider-Man could legit kill someone. That's how powerful he is in his punches. He can legit kill someone. And he has killed someone. If you, I mentioned it before, if you guys check out Wolverine versus Spider-Man, or I think Spider-Man versus Wolverine, there's a whole thing where Spider-Man and Wolverine get into a fight. And Spider-Man is about to punch Wolverine. He misses, and it strikes, it strikes an innocent woman that was there with them. She dies. She ends up dying. And that really bothers Spider-Man. He has guilt from that because he legit just took a woman out by the strike of his fist. That's scary. That's why he has to restrain his power so much. Because if not, a lot of people would be dead. Rhino would have been a one-trick pony because all it takes is one hit. He's down for the count. But that mythology in itself just makes Spider-Man even more interesting in the fact of, again, it ties back to great power, meets great responsibility. And that just ties back into that moniker even more. Yeah, Prime, I've never even tried Prime, but I had people who have, and they said it's not good. It's not good at all. So I wouldn't even bother. But the thing about it, they had Prime, a big Prime logo in the middle of the WWE ring at one time, and I'm like, what are we doing? My dream bodies look like Goku. Well, hey, that's something you definitely will have to work on, and that would be a process. But who knows? It could happen. There are a lot of people online who strive to have a journey where they have, certain anime characters or superhero characters. They go on their journey to strive to have a body type similar to what they have. So anything is possible. So it's just a matter of working at it and just being motivated enough to work at it. So if you want that, Solomon, I say go for it, because you never know. You say smoking is killing you. My brother smokes and he's losing his memory. He can't even remember what he did 1 minute ago. Yeah, that's the thing too. Like, smoking has a lot of bad effects to the brain, the heart, the body, all that. Like, it's just not a good habit to take up. So, that's just something to keep in mind And I'm not here to tell anybody what they should consume in their body or anything, but just kind of think about that the everlasting effects. How long do you want to live for? Do you want to live a long time? Do you want to be able to say, like, tell your grandchildren that I was able to tell this story to you today? Do you just some things to think about, because if not, it's just kind of like you're throwing your life away. You're just letting this toxic object just consume your life, and more of your life is just being taken away from it. you know Same with people when it comes to drinking. When you see people and all they do is drink every single day of their life, it's like you're just letting that consume yourself. You're letting that consume your body. You're just throwing your life away. And there's so much more for you to live for in this life. There's so much. And like I said, we all go through stuff. I go through stuff. I go through stuff. I deal with stuff. If there's some person out there who said that they're not going through stuff or they've never been through anything, they're lying to you, because everybody has, because that's what makes us human. He was able to injure Hulk in the comics. Yeah, he injured Hulk in the comics. Like, he's hurt people in the comics. They're like, dang, like you hurt for a spider. And it's like, yeah, because he's that powerful. So yeah, that's the power of Spidey. Which, by the way, your friendly neighborhood Spider-Man, we got 7 days until the show comes out. You guys excited for it? We're getting close to it. I do have another Your Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man video that I'm planning on doing this week. But also, to kind of tie into that, this other video that I'm going to be doing tomorrow, which I'm actually going to record tonight, is going to be on Sonic 4, Sonic the Hedgehog 4. We got the announcement today of Sonic the Hedgehog 4, which I watched Sonic the Hedgehog 3 today. So I'll give a little bit of a short review of that. I really enjoyed the film. I think, to me, this might be my favorite Sonic film. And people are going to be like, wait, you like the first one? Yes, I actually liked the first one. I thought, even though it's campy, it's a very campy movie. I like the campiness of the first Sonic movie. So to me, I like it. Because to me, that's like laying up the groundwork for what's to come. And then you have Sonic 2, which I like Sonic 2 because I like Knuckles. But then also just the whole thing that they do with Gold Sonic, which I won't go too much into just in case if someone hasn't seen the movie. But there's some interesting things in there that kind of tie into what we see in Sonic 3, I'll say. Then we got the Knuckles series, which people kind of half and half on. People like the Knuckles series. People hate the Knuckles series. I like it, personally. I know people say there's too much Wade Whipple in the show, which I understand that sentiment. But I think what they were trying to do with the show is kind of like give Knuckles a bit of this like journey to go on, but also Wade going on this journey with him. Because I definitely saw in Sonic 3, I definitely saw character development with Knuckles. There were a lot of wholesome moments with Knuckles in the movie that I'm like, if they had not done the Knuckles series, I don't think we would have gotten those moments. So to me, I appreciate it even more on that level, just based off of what they did in the third movie with Knuckles. But going back to it, like I said, Sonic 3, I thought it was a great movie, phenomenal. Love the references to the video game references. I love just the story and just when you watch the movie, there's like an ulterior message in the movie. Like, there's that thing that just sticks. And Keanu Reeves' portrayal as Sonic might be my favorite portrayal of Shadow. I said Sonic. I said Shadow. His portrayal of Shadow might be my favorite. I think it's my favorite. What they were able to do with his story also with Maria too, that again I won't go into. It's different, but I like what they did. They didn't make Shadow this like edgy character. Like, yeah, he had some very dark moments, but he wasn't like this edgy character that I feel like more times than not people look at him for. They gave him depth, they gave him emotion. And I appreciate that. I appreciate what they did there. Again, there's some cool surprises. I won't talk about the end, but all I'm going to say is I'm looking forward to Sonic 4. I'm looking forward to Sonic 4. And when we get further down the line, when people have actually seen Sonic 3, I do have an interesting live stream idea that I do want to do about a particular someone. And who should this particular someone, what should they do? I'll just say that. But yeah. Oh, that's right. I can't wait for that. Yeah, it's on digital right now. The movie's on digital right now, so definitely go check out the movie. It's really good. Like I said, to me the best Sonic movie out of all of them. And I don't think that's recent. I don't think that's recency bias at all. I just think really compared to the other two movies, and like I said, I adore the other two movies, but this one just felt different. Like it felt like a different movie. You know, it felt like a part of another series. And that's what I appreciate about Sonic 3 is it felt like a different series, but it wasn't afraid to go to those places in terms of storytelling. You think Bullseye has too much testosterone? Testosterone. That's why he's so strong. I think so. For Bullseye to be able to just legit throw pencils with such an accuracy, is like you have to be able to, like, as a human, you have to train to do something like that. But for Bullseye, it just comes so naturally to him. He could just, like I said, he could just throw pencils. Because in Daredevil season 3, he was just throwing pencils and pens and stuff, and just his accuracy, it's wild. And even in the comics, like he's like that too. He can just, he's a I forgot, Marvel fan said it in the last stream, which I'm surprised Marvel fan isn't here. He might be busy, but he said that he was like he's like a trained fighter. I think he said trained fighter, which I definitely get that vibe from him. But yeah, we also got the logo for Sonic 4 too, if you guys want to see that, because I would definitely share that off too. Let's see. It should be here. Yeah, it's there. I'll give you a little tease. I'll give you give you a little tease of that. So that's what I hope that doesn't give away anything, but that's what the logo looks like. So yeah. I think that's pretty cool. I wonder if it's snowing outside. I want to check and see if it's snowing outside. Maybe I will. I want to check my phone. Let me see. Apparently it's snowing outside right now, but we'll see. But yeah, that is the stream. I don't want to make this too long. Again, I'm sorry for the blurriness in my stream once again. I wish this would have worked out. But this was a great conversation. We talked about why Captain America Brave New World has to be good. We talked about Superman. We talked about just a ton of different things. So I want to definitely give a big shout out to everybody who came into the stream. Shout out to Alexander. Shout out to Carter. Shout out to Radiant Films. Shout out to Amber. Actually, I can show you guys on screen. Shout out to Alexander. Shout out to Radiant. Shout out to Amber Weaver coming in the stream. Always great to see you. Shout out to Nostalgic Times. Great discussions. Shout out to Solomon as always. Showing up in the stream. I'm trying to see if there's anyone else. Shout out to Parker. I know Alexander, you said that's your brother. So shout out to you guys checking out the content. And I think that's everybody. But yeah. But yeah, that is going to be the stream. If you guys are curious about what I'm going to be doing this week, I have a couple of ideas. Like I said, Sonic the Hedgehog 4 announcement. That's going to be the video for tomorrow. I have another Your Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man with some other things that are going to be dropping that I will be discussing. I do have the Gumball movie video that I recorded. I just need to work on that. So that will be coming out sometime this week. And yeah, so I got a lot of things going on right now that I'm just trying to get back into the groove of, because like I said, with CapCut being banned, but it coming back now, it gives me the opportunity to just get back on the scene. But if you guys haven't already, here's my channel, JaceTheDon. We talk cartoons, we talk Marvel, we talk DC, we talk Looney Tunes, Spider-Man. I'm going to be getting into music in the future. We just talk about a long list of things. And if you guys want to know my links, here's my links. My Twitter is JaceTheDon_. My Instagram is Josh.thedon_. My second channel is JaceTV_. Then I have a Twitch channel, which I'm going to be playing some games eventually at some point when I get a better layout and stuff. All my links as well, all there in my channel description if you want to check that out. We'll talk about my most recent videos that I have put out if you guys want to watch any of those. A day ago, yesterday, I put out the Your Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man release update. I got a Daredevil Born Again trailer reaction if you guys want to check that out. Some exciting new details on the Your Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man that I go into, some merch, just a ton of stuff there. Then the Amazing World of Gumball, which you guys have been going crazy on that video, almost to 3K. I really appreciate it. And just everybody just checking out all the videos, really. Like I have a long, extended list of just variety of content that I've worked on, you know, and plan to do so much more. I did a short today. I put out a short that it really isn't doing too good, but I did react to the Daredevil Born Again trailer. So if you want to check out a shorter version of my reaction to that, definitely check it out. I did a ranking of the Marvel projects last year. Just a lot of cool shorts and of reactions and stuff on the way. And that is pretty much it. Oh yeah, tomorrow I will be doing a live stream. We will be talking Superman. So if you guys are excited about Superman, we know that Superman is going to be debuting a new look at the Puppy Bowl next month, which also ties into the Super Bowl. So we might possibly get another trailer at the Super Bowl, possibly. It's not confirmed, but that's kind of what I'm thinking. So yeah, definitely stay tuned for that. That'll be live at 5 tomorrow. And yeah, that is all the content that I'm doing so far. I want to say a big shout out and thank you to everybody who's come on the stream and had a conversation. And yeah, it's just great doing these streams. I wish the quality would be a lot better, because the quality on my end is just great, but I wish it was better on there. So again, apologies for that. I'm gonna work on that even more. But yeah, with that being said, as I always say, I hope you guys have a good day, a good week, a good month. Stay safe, stay warm, stay hydrated. Um, and yeah, I think that's probably it. No, there's one more thing. And I always say in my stream, if there's anything you guys want to do, you guys have a passion project, you guys have something that you want to do, go for it. Do it. Do it better than anything you can ever imagine. And don't let anyone tell you otherwise. But yeah, with that being said, as I always say, big love to you all and peace out. And I'll see you guys for tomorrow's video on Sonic 4 and tomorrow's stream for Superman. So big love to you all and peace out.